I took my boring turn signal that looked like this and turned it into this. And if you subscribe within the next 7 days, you can win a set for your car for free. Today we're going to be installing these sequential LED strips. They have a daytime running light and they have a sequential turn signal, and we're going to be installing it on an E90. But it should work for basically any other car. So right out of the box, these are RGB. You have a remote to control the lighting strip for different colors. Some alcohol pads to clean the mounting surface. We have one strip, two strips, and an LED control box with, looks like, a power and negative wire for the actual box and a signal wire for the sequential flashing. Let me show you how these work real quick. So here are the strips when they initially receive power, and they have this little startup dance. When the signal wire gets power, we get our sequential flashing. And then with our remote, we can change, color settings, change it yellow, white, different colors, and there's other color settings too. Right there, color changing. Some rainbows, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So we just need to find power. Ground is easy. Then we need to find somewhere to tap in turn signal. Now I have one installed from last week. I like these because they're pretty thick, so they fit between the headlight and the fender, and then you just kind of cut the edge off so it hides. But with the hood closed, you can't see the strip, but when the light turns on, you can see the light popping out. And then they also have these markings for so you can see where to cut it, because these are universal, so they fit a lot of cars. So if your headlight is smaller, you can cut it, just cut it to size. So before we mount them and everything, you got to figure out how you're going to wire these up. The power and negative is pretty simple. On this car, 2007 BMW 335i, I have my fog lights and angel eyes. They've been coated, so they are on 24/7, and they turn on when the car is unlocked, set as welcome lights. So I'm going to wire up my negative and positive to my fog light wiring, and then the signal wire, I'm just going to pull it off the headlights, and it will be receiving the signal for the side marker here. I did try to pull power from these side markers, but these require a certain amount of voltage. Depending on your car model, you may be able to adjust voltages to that, but I think this FRM2 I cannot adjust voltages. So I need to pull power from here, but I had to disable the corner lights. So with the corner lights disabled, they're essentially never going to be on. It's just going to be this is going to be my new turn signal. Now if you're doing it, this car is a little bit more complicated than most cars. If you're doing it on, plain Honda or Toyota, their wiring is a lot easier. The wiring on this is a little complicated. So this is my fog light wire connector right now. The key, the accessory is on, so this should have power. So we get our voltmeter here, set it to 20 volts, and then we're gonna touch our voltmeter leads to this. Okay, so they're in there, and we look at our meter, 12.6 volts. That's exactly what we need for the LED strips. So we know we can put our red and black wire from our LED strip box onto these wires. So that's figured out. We can pull power, and with the car off and the key off, this has no power, so this is perfect. So the car is off right now because it's loud, but the key is on. The key is kind of like turned all the way to the accessory position right before the car starts. I have the red lead touching on a wire I suspect could be the signal wire. Now we're going to touch our negative lead to ground, and we're going to check for voltage here. Here you see that our voltage is fluctuating because the car is sending signal to the turn signal. It's saying on, off, on, off, on, off. So now we're going to make sure that the voltage stops when we turn our turn signal off. So with our turn signal off, we are getting no voltage. We can pull signal power from that to our LED strip. We can wire up our yellow wire to that wire we just tested that was getting on-off voltage when our turn signal was on. So now that you have that all figured out, your wiring, where you're going to tap everything, you got to start looking at how you're going to install everything and how you're going to run all the wires. So now it's time to wire up our LED box. These are my fog light wires here, and yellow is going to be positive, brown is going to be our negative. So we're going to get a razor blade and slowly peel off a little bit of this layer so we can access the wires. So you bend the wire, and then that is your positive wiring. So now we need to kind of cut some of this rubber off of this wire. I'm using these special pliers. So we're going to twist the end of our wire, and we're going to feed it through our positive wire on our fog light harness. And we're just going to twist our red wire around here very tightly, so we have a connection like that. There are better ways to do this. You could use a soldering gun with some solder, or you could cut the yellow wire and splice all 3 wires together. The way I'm doing it is the easiest way, and it will make plenty of connection and power will have no problem jumping through, but there are other ways you can do this. So now we have this, we're going to tape this up really well. So there we go, our power wire is in place. So we're going to do the same thing for the ground wire. There we go, perfect. And now we have our power and ground from our fog lights. And if we go to our LED strips, you can see that they are clearly on now. So now we just need to get our signal for our signal wire. So I went ahead and wired up the signal wire for the driver's side. I got my, I can't see anything. I got my little LED box right here that I have some double-sided tape on, and I'm going to attach to the back of this module here so it's not just dangling around. So we have our power wires all hooked up to our fog light, so the LED strips will turn on when the car turns on. We have a signal wire for our driver's side turn signal right here, our signal wire for the passenger side, and power wire for the strip is coming from the box, runs under here. I removed this air intake piece, runs all the way through here, it's connected here, and then our signal wire goes to our headlight harness here. Now we have to install these. They have some very thin double-sided tape once you lift this blue tape up, and then you can cut them like this. You see here there's a little scissors mark, so you can cut it. On mine, they are going to sit above the headlight right here, so I just kind of positioned this where I was going to put it, slid it into place, and that's pretty much it. It's going to overhang a little, so we're going to wrap black tape around the tip so you can't see the lighting like this one, because the cutting marks are too far apart, so we can't get it perfect between this point and this point here. But that'll be fine, and you just cut it with some scissors. Or they do have this end cap to keep dust from getting in. We'll probably peel this off and then hot glue this a little bit, and then slide the cap back on with hot glue, because without hot glue the cap just pops off. And once we get our cap on, we're gonna use these little cleaning strips and we're gonna clean our mounting surface. Clean it really well. It'll be hard to get in this crack and clean it. Just try our best. And once we do that, we can stick our LED strip on. So you peel off the blue tape after you've cleaned everything, and then you can stick your LED strip wherever you want it. I drilled a small hole right here with the drill bit. I just put the drill bit right on top and turn the drill on and just let it dig its way in there. This is 9/64 inch drill bit, and it's the perfect size, so that wire fits in there perfectly. And then I drilled a hole on the radiator support to pass the wire through. That one had to be bigger because you have to pass the actual connector through. And then all the excess cable, I just tied it up and tucked it in right here. It's out of sight, and that way your wire fits in there perfectly and it's not in the way. And then just make sure your wire is free and clear of your hood latch. So this is how mine looks at the end. I hit them as fast as possible, and I put my LED strips right here. So I did the same thing to the passenger side. This one was a little bit different. This cable, or the cable that came from the LED box, was shorter, so I had to extend the wire out further than I would have liked. When you close the hood, you can't even tell that they're there, so I like that position a lot. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So earlier I said I had to delete my side marker or the turn signal on the headlight. Now you do have to do some coding if you're gonna go that route. I'm using the BimmerGeeks Protools app. I have another video in my channel, so you can check that out. It'll show you what the app is about and how to use it and walk you through it. So one option, if you wire it to the fender lights on, or the lights on your fender, you can keep your stock turn signal in place, but you need an FRM3 module. And if you have an FRM3 module, you'd come in functions on the FRM module in the app. You would click adjust voltages, and then you would find the whatever light that's called, fender light or something. You'd find that light, and then you would adjust the voltage to 14 volts. But this is an FRM2 module, so I do not have that option. So the only option I had was to code out that corner light completely. So I'll show you what options I had to do here. So we're in coding. We're gonna go to standard, so we see all coding options. We can just search up here real quick. We make it easier instead of scrolling through everything. So right here we have hot check or warm check for the side turn signals disabled. Front turn signals disabled. Welcome lights, front turn signals disabled. Daytime running light, turn signals disabled. So all that stuff I do code out. And here's some clips of the LED strip in action. This first clip shows the LED strip working with my stock turn signal, but I had an external power source on the LED strip. The second clip shows a couple different color functions that the LED strip has. It does have a couple other colors that I didn't show in this clip here available. The third clip shows what the LED strip looks like now with the turn signal on and my stock signal deleted. And then the fourth clip shows what the LED strip looks like when I unlock the car and they come on as welcome lights.